All right, cigar fans, and hopefully some of you out there are JRE tobacco cigar fans or familiar with JRE, but if you're not, that's kind of what this video is for. Whether you're familiar with the JRE or not, we're going to go through the different JRE cigar options. And mainly the ones that are currently on the market now and popular right now. There are some new things coming into the stores that we've been hearing about. We've seen some pictures of some new releases. We'll talk about that, but right now we're going to focus on their main lineup. So essentially, you have right now 3 main lines of cigars with JR. You have the Aladino here, the Rancho Luna here, and the Tatascan. And we'll go through all 3, but the best place to start is actually going to be with the Aladino for a reason, because the filler, binder, and wrapper is all the same leaf, and as we talk about that, then it makes it easier and quicker to go through the other 2. So we're going to start with the Aladino. So of course we have the logo here. The A says Julio R. Iroa. That's the owner of the company, the father and son, Julio and Justo. Julio would be the father. And then we do have the years 47 to 1961, which we'll talk about in a second. So this is the Aladino, and basically filler, wrapper, binder is all authentic Corojo, all from the Iroa tobacco farm down in Honduras. So it is a all filler, wrapper, and binder, all authentic Corojo. And the reason I'm using the word authentic, you know, this deserves a lot more attention than what I'm about to give it. But essentially what you have is back in the, I'm getting some text messages I got to clear out. Back in the high era of Cuban cigars from 47 to 61, and this is kind of according to Julio R. Iroa, you know, back in that day, the Cuban cigars, the big major tobacco leaf back then was Corojo. And eventually, you know, so everything from this era, 47 to 61, was the Cuban Corojo. Now, eventually, over time, you know, after 61 and the later years and things like that, the Corojo plant became very hard to continue to grow. It became very susceptible to disease, mold, bugs, things like that. And it also wasn't a very high yielding plant to begin with. So it kind of went by the wayside Corojo, and we kind of lost that original Cuban Corojo. Well, along eventually comes Julio R. Iroa, and eventually figures out how to grow that authentic Corojo. Now, some people have tried making Corojo. Some of the Corojo that's on the market, most of it is a hybrid. There's Corojo 99, which was a hybrid seed that was designed to be more resilient and things like that from the disease and the mold and stuff like that. But it wasn't the original Cuban seed. But JRE managed to do that. They have a lot of special ways down at their farm, how they keep the farm very clean and things like that. So anyways, when you smoke this Aladino, this very special cigar, it's like stepping back in time to the era of 47 to 61 in Cuba and enjoying an all Cuban Corojo cigar. Okay, so that's the Aladino. Now we're gonna go on the, you know, we're going to start with their lighter cigar, okay? So we're going to go to what the popular cigar is, the Tatascan. So there's 2, well, and also, actually, before I leave the Aladino, just recently, so here's the Aladino, the all Corojo one, and then now recently, okay, is the Maduro version. So this is the Aladino Maduro. So everything's the same, but now it has a San Andres Mexican Maduro wrapper on it. Real quick tasting, boy, you know, when you smoke an Aladino, it's a lot of nice, smooth, natural tobacco, leather, cigar flavor, and it's a lot different than anything you're going to smoke because it's this all authentic Corojo. It's hard to describe it, you know, and compare it to another cigar, but this is definitely one that, you know, when you enjoy this cigar, you know you're enjoying a premium cigar. The Maduro, putting on the Maduro wrapper, definitely gives it a completely different taste, complexity. I always say that I notice some dark cherry notes, which I love finding in a cigar. So this brings out, this San Andres wrapper brings out a different complexity, but you know, it's going to give you some dark fruit notes, which I think is dark cherry notes. So we're going to hop down to the Tatascan cigar. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Tatascan line. Basically, the Tatascan right here, and it's represented by the cowboy hat. So its nickname is the Big Boss, the El Jefe, but the name is Tatascan. Okay. This comes in 2 flavors, basically. This is the Habano, so this is the red band with the gold hat is the Habano wrapper. And I didn't have a Connecticut, so I had to go online and print one out. And this is the Connecticut. It's not actually that big, okay? But this is the Connecticut wrapper, and it has the black band. So black band is the Connecticut, red band is the Habano. All right, let me set that ridiculous piece of paper down. We'll look at this. So the Tatascan cigar is their lightest in terms of strength. It's designed to be a lighter strength cigar. Inside we have a filler, which is a combination of that authentic Corojo and Habano. Then we have a binder of the authentic Corojo, and then we have a Habano wrapper. So basically this is all Habano and authentic Corojo, again with a filler of Habano and authentic Corojo, an authentic Corojo binder, and a Habano wrapper. The Connecticut, everything's the same, but instead of the Habano wrapper, you have a Connecticut wrapper instead. So that Connecticut version obviously is going to be an extremely light, mild, smooth cigar. And the Habano one going to be very similar, but because of the Habano wrapper, it's going to give you a little bit more complexity, just a little bit more earthiness to it, a little bit more body. Strength is still the same, just a little bit more body, a little bit more mouth profile. But the other thing to mention that's it's interesting about these cigars is they're both designed with a sweetened tip. So when you're smoking the cigar and you're drawing in the smoke through the cigar, there's a little bit of a sweet tip. So on your mouth there, it brings in a little bit of extra sweetness in with it as well. Then finally, we're going to talk about my favorites, the Rancho Luna line. So the Rancho Luna comes in a Maduro and a Habano. Now, to make sure I gave you the right information, I just went to the source. I just got off the phone with Justo Iroa of JRE to make sure that I wasn't missing something. And what I said to Justo, I said, Justo, in preparation for this little video I'm shooting, I noticed that the Tatascan Habano and the Rancho Luna Habano are the same blend. Basically, you have a authentic Corojo and Habano filler, authentic Corojo and Habano filler, an authentic Corojo binder, an authentic Corojo binder, a Habano wrapper, and a Habano wrapper. I said, what's the difference between these two cigars? Basically, the difference is, again, that going back to the Tatascan was designed and blended and meant to be their lightest strength offering, so it's a very mild cigar. This cigar, the Rancho Luna, was designed to be have a little bit more body, a little bit more strength. So it's the same blending of the same leaves, but they're higher primings. So this one has a very, very low primings. This one has higher primings. And when you hear the terminology primings, that just means on the plant. The priming would be where on the plant the leaf comes from. So the leaves at the top of a plant are getting the most sun, and they're going to be the highest in strength. So as you go down the plant, the lower you go down the plant, those are the lower primings. It's getting less direct sun. It's not as strong. So this is the Rancho Luna Habano, again, and the Rancho Luna Maduro. So this would be a Habano authentic Corojo filler, authentic Corojo binder, and a Mexican San Andres wrapper. This is like my go-to cigar. I always tell people this is a cigar that never, ever, ever, ever lets me down. They're both incredible cigars. The Habano, very creamy, smooth, vanilla. I love finding a cigar that has those notes and characteristics. The Rancho Luna Maduro, also very smooth cigar, but it's with the San Andres wrapper, it's going to give you some more woodsy, earthy notes, some more leather and things like that. But all these cigars, one thing about JRE, the construction is phenomenal. The burn, the ash, the draw, these are all fantastic qualities of these cigars that should never be understated. And there's a lot of varying sizes. We have, this is the Robusto, here's a Toro in the Rancho Luna. The Aladino has a bunch of sizes, some of the popular ones. Robusto, this is the Palmas, which is very popular. It's very nice size cigar. It's a 43 by 6, so the price is phenomenal on that. And then this is one of my favorites. This is the Cazador. It's a 46 by 6. I love, me personally, that 46 to 48 ring gauge range. I love that. So this is the Cazador Aladino. So those are the cigars of the main lines. JRE just announced at the 2018 IPCPR this past weekend. They're going to be rolling out a Aladino Reserve, I think is what it's going to be called. So it's going to be another Aladino, all authentic Corojo, but just higher priming. So there's going to be an Aladino with some higher primings. That's basically going to hit the market very soon. Justo's told me about future projects that they're working on and planning to release. I won't get into that now because I don't want to put something out there that changes, but the Aladino Reserve is definitely something that's coming because it was just promoted at the recent IPCPR. So anyways, it's been 10 minutes. That's long enough. I hope this answered a lot of your questions, or at least introduced you to the JRE tobacco cigar lines. And if you haven't had them, boy, you better find a good store and check them out because they're great cigars. All right, thanks a lot.